Another week, boys, and another TWAB. This week at Bungie, we're talking sandbox news, matchmaking, and we're getting amped up for Neptune. Before we jump into this week's TWAB, let's do a brief recap of what went down in last week's blog post for anyone that may have missed it. Grandmaster changes include power level, Iron Banner update after week 1 with Fortress, including the change to frequency. Iron Banner will be available 3 weeks every season. We got our Oprah Winfrey on with armor mods, focusing cause in this economy, doggo behind the scene looks, and some good news about the goodest of good boys staying in Destiny 2, and an important Bungie store update. Yeah, guys, if you already checked out last week's TWAB, you're good. I do suggest, though, if you missed anything in regards to mod changes that was discussed in yesterday's video, that is a ginormous video to unload. We'll link that in the description if you haven't watched it, but major overhauls coming with Lightfall. Now, for this week, we're diving a little deeper into the shiny new trailer that just dropped, highlighting a deep dive with Bungie developers into upcoming buildcrafting changes, and chatting about matchmaking, weapon and ability changes, and more. So without further ado, let's get into it, shall we? Friendly reminder from our player security team. Some people whose accounts were banned have said they don't remember cheating or having any sort of cheat software on their platforms of choice. Anytime we investigate these cases, both recent and in the past, we often find they gave their accounts to someone else to play the game for them. Because of this, we want to again remind everyone that you must protect your accounts and do not use account recovery services. Saying that your fingers were not on the keyboard when cheating occurred will not be considered during the thorough appeal process. Oh my. Yeah, there's been some bans here and there, and a lot of people said like, yo, this is a wrongful ban. But I will say, if you have used an account recovery service of some sort, you really don't know what people use. Some people will use cheats just to get through that activity, whatever it may be, whether it's PvE or PvP, and all they care about is getting the activity done as fast as possible. Now get in, Guardian. We're going to Neomuna. Can you smell what the Neptune is cooking? Okay, so that doesn't make sense. And we all know I'm not Dwayne The Rock Johnson, but we do have an epic, if we say so ourselves, which we are saying so ourselves right now, new trailer showing off more of our upcoming Neptunian adventures with Lightfall. Lightfall is almost here, and I still can't believe it. The chance to swish around like some sort of undying cyberpunk-inspired Spider-Man will be here before you know it. We're excited to show you more about Cloud Striders, Strand, and the brand new location to explore. For now, can we just take a second to appreciate those sweet slow-mo shots, because those are dope. Yeah, we did a trailer breakdown, fellas. Neomuna is looking sexy. I am really happy Bungie's going with this approach, because again, originally we thought of Lightfall as like this bleak, dreary, I mean, the name literally says Lightfall. And then next thing you know, it is like, nah, man, neon, baby. Now, Bob the Builder and the evolution of buildcrafting. Buildcrafting, it's a massive part of Destiny, but it's also an ever-evolving component to what it means to be a guardian that's always ready for what's next. For those that may have missed it, the team shared a more in-depth look at how buildcrafting has evolved and what it will look like in the near future, particularly with anti-champion systems, the new loadout system, and more. So what was talked about exactly? Glad you asked. Here's a simplified breakdown for those looking to learn more about specific topics. So loadouts and mod customization, consolidate. Dude, this has been a trend for years now. How the system has evolved and what areas the team wants to address first, how the mod customization screen will operate, champions, new ways to counter champions, including our subclasses. That's right, we're fine-tuning every single mod, reduction in pressure on armor energy by tweaking armor mod costs, and how artifact perks fit in, how buildcrafting is changing in match game, and how elemental wells are also changing, and a brief look at the road ahead. We're actually doing a video right now, guys, where we're collecting all the different exotics and armor pieces that are going to work with countering champions, and it's actually crazy. There's going to be so many ways to deal with champions next season without even worrying about your artifact. Now, Rumble returns, catalysts are a changing, exotic glaive goodness, and more. As we race towards Lightfall's release next month, we've got a few updates that we're excited to share. As a small preview, we're talking about red borders, dredging gilding, Rumble's back, blue woes, and year 3 catalysts, and glaive exotic crafting. Let's dive in. So starting with red border drop rates, on January the 18th, a change went live in game that makes it easier for players to get the red borders that they crave in all raids with craftable weapons and in the duality dungeon. Stay tuned for additional information about weapon crafting changes in Lightfall in the coming weeks. Yeah, y'all let me know, guys, has the increase in red box weapons been noticeable? I had a comment or two in yesterday's hotfix video, and they were like, nah, we ran back-to-back raids with our fire team and only 3 people got red box drops. Now, faster dredging title gilding, rather than requiring 30 gambit wins to gild the dredging title, we are changing it to 50 match completions with bonus credits for wins. At a minimum, this reduces the number of wins needed by 5, and most players will require significantly fewer to get to where they are trying to be, Title Town. Regarding what is planned for upcoming patches, bye-bye blues at soft cap. It's happening. Oh my god, it's actually happening. Starting with next week's patch, after you reach the soft gear cap, blue Engrams will stop dropping in the world whenever that would have happened, and the equivalent amount of additional glimmer baubles will spray out instead. We're also adjusting all other gunsmith reputation gains by 25% to compensate for removing gunsmith reputation reputation from dismantling blue gear. We may not have caught every single blue Engram in the game, but a vast majority should behave this way. If you find a source that still gives a blue item, please report it in our help forums so we can squash. Rumble, y'all! In response to player feedback, we're bringing Rumble back to the Crucible screen as a permanent fixture and remove it as a rotator in the next patch. There are more exciting Crucible changes coming with Lightfall, so stay tuned. All right, Rumble's back, baby. Year 3 Catalyst Evolution. The Catalyst quests for the Year 3 Season Pass exotics, Ariana's Vow, Symmetry, Tommy's Matchbook, and Witherhoard will now benefit from the Season Pass boost like other exotic Catalyst quests. Additionally, any seasonal ritual playlist activity will count toward ritual progress for all Season Pass exotic Catalyst quests. All right, so if you're a new player or somebody that's just getting these exotics, dude, you can really just double up, right? Get all the Catalysts here, grind out some ritual playlists, and you'll knock it all out. Now, easier exotic glaive crafting. Did you know there are class-specific craftable exotic glaives? We're adjusting the quests needed to receive them to only require one portion of each weapon pattern from the Wellspring weapons, as well as ensuring the first drop of each daily Wellspring weapon will have deep sight. Once you've unlocked the recipe for the first exotic glaive, the other class recipes can be purchased by your other characters from the evidence board. Dude, I know every veteran player in here right now is like, really? Like, you're reading all this, you're like, all right, catalysts are gonna be easier, exotic glaives, red drops. That's just part of being the hardcore player base, fellas. We play testing, baby. Now save the dates. At dawn, we raid. Oh man, you're gonna love the new raid, especially the part where, save the date, folks. We're doing it live on March the 10th, 2023 at 9 a.m. Pacific, which is the second Friday in March. Another world first. Who's gonna take the win this time? Who knows? But we do know we have some delicious popcorn ready to watch Guardians from all over the world shoot their shot at earning that coveted world's first belt. All right, guys, another Friday raid. We talked about this here recently. I don't know. You guys let me know. Again, I still prefer Saturday raids because I feel like everybody has the opportunity to jump in. Some people have even commented when I said that and were like, actually, they prefer seeing the day one portion of the raid done and over with. That way, by the weekend, contest mode is off, the raid is easier, mechanics are out, and everybody else can have both Saturday and Sunday to knock out the raid. Again, though, to me, Saturday was just such a cool day. Everybody was playing. And I like to imagine like there's that one team of dads out there, right? That assembled LFG on a random Saturday and somehow pulled off the win and got world's first. My God, that would be amazing. We need to talk about matchmaking. We've experimented a lot with various matchmaking tools through the years to help make PvP more enjoyable for all. Earlier last year, we spoke about what the team had in their sights for future changes. With those goals in mind, we've got the Destiny 2 Rituals team and the Sandbox teams here to go over a few things like matchmaking, abilities, and weapon tweaks. First, let's look at matchmaking. Destiny 2 Rituals team. In previous TWABs, we've talked about our goals to make the Crucible an accessible and fair activity for all players, and how we plan to accomplish those goals with matchmaking. In Season 18, we added a loose form of skill-based matchmaking to Control. We gathered data, reviewed the analytics, and adjusted the matchmaking configurations, establishing the foundation for Season 19's matchmaking for quick play, Iron Banner, and competitive 3v3. In Season 19, we added Fireteam-based matchmaking, and as before, we will continue reviewing the analytics and player feedback to adjust our configurations as necessary. Fireteam-based matchmaking is the first step towards enabling a fair playing field for fire teams of all sizes and eliminating the need for freelance nodes. As we grow more confident in our settings, expect to see fewer freelance nodes, beginning with Iron Banner. What? We know that it may seem a little jarring written out in text like that, but this is part of the process for long-term goals that will improve the experience across the board. Really, Bungie? You think this is going to improve the experience? I hope this Fireteam matchmaking is as good as you say it is. Now, after we've gotten sufficient data on this from players from internal systems, we will extend the Fireteam matchmaking feature to trials and eventually competitive 3v3. AKA, guys, freelance is on its way out. No more freelance trials, no more freelance comp, no more freelance Iron Banner. Now listen, if there is some sort of magical way in which Bungie can match solo players with solo players and teams against teams within a given playlist, great. But we all know what normally happens in this situation is one will take precedence over the other, as in skill versus Fireteam. Which one comes first here? Now, once we have ironed out the kinks associated with Fireteam-based matchmaking, the next feature on deck is dynamic skill matchmaking. As mentioned before, this feature is geared towards improving matchmaking if you're in a low population skill bracket or during a particularly low population time. This is all to say, we're aware of the current status of matchmaking, and we are continually working toward improving our features and systems. We believe we're on the right track, and we would like to share some of the data that makes us believe as much. One such data point is match outcome prediction. We use a particular algorithm that considers multiple variables to predict the outcome of a given match, where 50% prediction accuracy is considered ideal. This would mean both teams are evenly matched, and we are unable to determine the winner based on statistics alone. The graph below, figure A, displays our prediction accuracy for Control before and after Season 18. When we introduce loose skill-based matchmaking, the drop in accuracy is a strong indicator that our current implementation of skill-based matchmaking is headed in the right direction. Look, Bungie, I don't know if you know this or not. It's cool that your algorithm is predicting such factors and is becoming more and more accurate for you. If my algorithm could be displayed right now, my enjoyment of Crucible has greatly diminished, like nosedived, because nothing is more infuriating than playing against guys on the other side of the world with literally the worst connections I have ever experienced. Now let's continue. Additionally, the following graph figure B displays our prediction accuracy for Glory preseason 19 and competitive 3v3 season 19. The upper lines are the main Glory and competitive activities, while the bottom lines are the freelance variants. With season 19, we adjusted the skill bands for matchmaking and competitive, leading to a significant drop in prediction accuracy. That is, matches are becoming fairer. Note that there is still a strong discrepancy between the main node and freelance. This shows it's more difficult to produce fair matches with fire teams due to the immeasurable advantages that a fire team possesses: communication, team composition, team synergy, etc. However, that is why we are testing fire team-based matchmaking. We aim to reach a point where matches in this main node, where mixed fire team sizes can queue together, reach levels of fairness comparable to the freelance node, at which point we can confidently shelve freelance nodes. Hopefully this provides some insight into our efforts to make Crucible a fair, accessible, and fun experience for all players. This is an ongoing process, so please pardon the dust as we build toward a better future. Alright, you guys let me know what you think. It's a little iffy, man. I'm just saying. I live in freelance playlists. It's not that I can't go out there and get a fire team, but I like to just kind of queue up solo a lot, and freelance was just one of those ways to safeguard yourself. Everything is really going to be dependent on this fire team-based matchmaking, but the other side of things is Bungie is obviously trying to consolidate the playlist because connections are so bad. They need to make the pool bigger, and I'm thinking that if this doesn't work, Bungie is actually going to consolidate one more time. And what I mean by that, console boys, we about to be playing in the same kiddie pool together. Automatic opt-in matchmaking. And before some of you guys jump up and say, oh my god, no, I don't want to play PC people because y'all gonna kill us. Look, this is Destiny, man. I can't tell you how many times I run into controller players that can absolutely dunk inside of PvP. So before my console guys think that we're just gonna run y'all, you'll be surprised. I've seen some absolutely nutty players on console. Now, if you're still playing on like last gen consoles at 30 frames per second, well, rest in peace. Now let's chat about airborne effectiveness. Oh boy. Airborne effectiveness, weapons, abilities, oh my. For the second TWAB of the year, we're diving back into the world of sandbox goodness with the team to learn about what's next for Destiny 2 regarding combat, movement, and more. Take it away, Destiny Sandbox team. So airborne effectiveness. We introduced the airborne effectiveness, the AE system, in season 17 to give us levers to balance weapon effectiveness while airborne in a consistent and comprehensive way. We did this in preparation for a sandbox that's introducing more airborne gameplay options, particularly with the Strand subclass in Lightfall. We had two primary reasons for this. It's important to balance the increasing number of airborne movement options against their combat effectiveness, as we don't want Destiny 2 to shift excessively towards airborne gunplay over time. In a game where most modes did not have skill-based matchmaking, players using airborne playstyle could be extremely oppressive. The first reason remains true, but the second has become less relevant as skill-based matchmaking has rolled out across more PvP modes. And despite achieving our goals, the cost in player fun was too high. After observing for a season, we made some updates in each subsequent weapon balance update while starting on a larger rework for Lightfall. We've been playtesting these changes for a while now and are confident we can safely pull them into the season 19 mid-season balance update. Airborne effectiveness affects the following aspects of weapons. These affect both mouse and keyboard as well as controller unless otherwise noted. So auto aim, aka bullet bin, corrects bullets towards a target within the auto aim cone. Precision angle threshold controls how far away you can be from a head and still get a headshot instead of a body shot from auto aim. Magnetism, aka reticle friction and adhesion, controller only, slows down your reticle when it passes over a target. Accuracy controls how much bullets spread out with repeated firing. And spread angles, pellet shotguns only, controls the width of shotgun spread patterns. With this update, you can expect primary weapon with no investment, that is at the default AE stat of the weapon, to be as accurate, that is shoot just as straight as a primary weapon with Icarus grip mod equipped did before the introduction of airborne effectiveness. The auto aim angle is also significantly improved and the magnetism penalty has been eliminated. Instead of relying on accuracy and aim assist penalties, we're requiring more precision to land crits while airborne. This means your guns will behave more like they do when grounded, except that you must aim right at the head to get a headshot unless you really build for airborne gameplay. Now, one side effect of this change is that airborne gameplay on controller should feel better than ever before with modern investments, since we've reduced the airborne magnetism penalty below what was in the game before AE. We still don't want it to be too easy to build into AE with special weapons, but we believe we have space to reduce the penalties on shotguns and sniper rifles. We may revisit this later. In playtesting, this makes baseline airborne gunplay feel substantially better, and building into higher AE feels more rewarding. Specifics: primary primary weapons, aim assist, reduce all additional primary weapon auto aim, bullet bin penalties by 60% at 0 AE for both mouse and keyboard and controller. Increase the precision angle, how far off a head target you can be, and still have auto aim give you a headshot instead of a body shot by 50% at 100 AE. Change the curve to be exponential, so you get more benefits at higher AE from mouse and keyboard and controller. Removed all additional primary weapon magnetism, reticle friction penalties, and at 60 to 100 AE, you get magnetism bonus compared to pre-AE for controller only. Reduce airborne accuracy penalty for all primary weapons per weapon type. So hand cannon and sidearms, 60%. Auto rifle, scout rifle, pulse rifles, and submachine guns, 20%. Bows, 30%. Now special weapons, sniper rifles and slug shotguns, reduce base airborne accuracy penalty by 50%. Pellet shotguns, fully remove airborne accuracy penalty. Some bold moves on the shotguns there, right? Okay, a lot to be said here, guys. Really, what's going to require us to do is do like a pre and post test and literally just see while airborne where everything feels at each threshold of AE. The main takeaway is this: weapons should be feeling much better after this change when airborne, especially in that bullet bin category, but there's definitely going to be incentives to actually build into AE. Now, pellet shotguns having their airborne accuracy penalty completely removed, I'm kind of scratching my head on that one, guys. No lie. Now, let's continue. Weapon types, submachine guns have been heavily dependent on the range stat to be competitive. SMGs with the high range stat easily outclass all of the SMGs, and low range auto rifles and hand cannons. We recently made a change that brought these higher range options more in line, but the difference between them and other SMGs was still too large, and some special case offenders that could hit nearly maximum range were still a bit too strong. As such, we've made a large improvement to SMG performance at lower range values, combined with a smaller decrease to the higher range values. So general, increase damage and aim assist fall off start at 0 range by 30%. Reduce damage and aim assist fall off start at 100 range by 6%. Now that is a significant bump there for low range SMGs. Now adaptive SMGs lag behind lightweights in effectiveness, dealing more body shot damage, but much less critical hit damage despite sharing the same rate of fire. To narrow this gap, we've increased their critical hit multiplier, which makes them feel more rewarding in skilled hands and increases their lethality against certain resilience values. So increase the critical hit multiplier from 1.44 to 1.5. Crit damage goes from 16.2 to 16.9. So guys, when you think of like lightweight SMGs, Callus Mini Tool, Funnel Web, very, very popular ones, even Multi-Mac, the idea is that lightweight has better optimal time to kill values, but less forgiving body shot TTKs, and that's where like adaptives came in. Now, will this make me actually use adaptives over lightweights? I don't know. Maybe. You got Hero's Burden, you got Pizzicato. I might. I'm just really surprised they haven't just consolidated these SMGs. Now moving on, we inadvertently skipped Forensic Nightmare when we adjusted the zoom of other SMGs, so we're correcting that oversight. So we're increasing Forensic Nightmare zoom from 13 to now 14. All right, that's a hell of a lot better than 13. It's still significantly less than other precisions, just saying. Now, pulse rifles are very potent in the current meta for a multitude of reasons. Their effectiveness and ease of use at longer ranges makes it hard to close the distance to challenge them with many other weapons. This is especially true on mouse and keyboard, where the normal effective range is significantly increased by the tighter bullet spread of each burst. The current map rotation, which is scheduled to change in Lightfall for both competitive, crucible, and quick play, heavily favors the ranged playstyle, and airborne effectiveness has made airborne play more difficult. With those things in mind, we didn't want to hit pulse rifles too hard without first seeing the effects of other changes on the overall sandbox, but we've reduced the top end range of pulse rifles on all input types and increased their native recoil on mouse and keyboard to bring their ease of use more in line with controller. These changes should combine to make pulse rifles less effective at longer ranges without hurting players who choose to use them more actively. So general, reduce aim assist fall off start at 100 range by 10%, reduce damage fall off start at 100 range by 5%, increase recoil by 20% on mouse and keyboard only. That's right, mouse and keyboard players, get wrecked! Now BXR is by far the most effective legendary pulse rifle, in large part due to being extremely strong up close with the legacy frame intrinsic and highly lethal at long range with the best in sub-family zoom. We felt the fantasy of the gun fit better with the CQB, hip-fire, aggressive style of gameplay. So we've brought the zoom down to more closely match standard lightweight pulse rifles, which will open up some space for other options to work in. So reduce the BXR 55 Battler zoom from 20 to 18? Oh, that's painful. Now the mid-season 18 sidearm aim assist fall-off buff had the desired effect of encouraging players on both input devices to experiment with sidearms. After letting the meta settle, sidearms have cemented themselves as very strong contenders in close quarter engagements, but they are exceeding their intended effective range by a small amount. We've walked back the buff slightly to pull them in and give other lower range primary weapons a little more room to thrive. So general, reduce the season 18 aim assist fall off distance buff from 30% to now 20%. Honestly guys, I think sidearms were definitely getting out of hand, but since shotguns had their rework, man. I am back on the shotgun train, especially things like Matador. Precisions feel so good. Obviously, sidearms can definitely still dominate now. I think 20% is still really good, though. We'll see how it plays out. Now, exotics. Dead Messenger can be oppressive to play against, as the triple wave pattern can be easily combined with a number of abilities or other weapons to effectively one-hit kill a player. So we've brought the damage down significantly to make such play styles less effective. With this change, it still has use cases in PvP and hasn't changed at all in PvE, but is a lot less frustrating to play against. So we reduce the wave splash damage against players by 35%. Ah, yes. So you're probably gonna leave somebody one shot with electrostatic mine, right? It's still a very girthy wave frame though, guys. So I think swapping to another weapon for the cleanup is still gonna be effective. Now, Dead Man's Tale. Oh boy. Dead Man's Tale's tweak in 6.3.0 update, switching its aiming from preferring body shots to preferring crits, had a much more dramatic effect than expected. The weapon was initially tuned around it preferring body shots. This meant it had a larger aim assist cone to compensate. And once this was addressed, it spiked in effectiveness. At the same time, a damage penalty for hitting maximum stacks of cranial spike never felt good. We've pulled back various hip firing tuning to make hip firing at long ranges much harder and removed the cranial spike penalty. So first, remove the damage penalty for 5 stacks of cranial spike. Oh, okay. Reduce hip fire and airborne aim assist cone angles by 25% on mouse and keyboard. Reduce hip fire cone angle bonus scaling from 20% to now 5%. Reduce hip fire precision aim cone angle from 3 degrees to 0.8 degrees. And reduce the hip fire auto aim fall off scaler from 1.5 to 1.1. All right, so across the board, hip fire is getting slapped. But the good thing is you won't get a damage penalty at 5 stacks of cranial spike. How does this work for PvE, right? Again, I don't understand why this keeps going past Bungie. DMT got a massive nerf inside of PvE. It was giving us way more damage per stack of cranial spike, and it's doing significantly less now. Is nobody else upset about this? Look, if I'm alone on this, that's fine. If you're satisfied with DMT inside of PvE, then just ignore my words. Perks, we're seeing Revoker usage increase as more PvP modes have power levels removed. The Reversal of Fortune perk is extremely strong, particularly in combination with certain playstyles. Ultimately, we decided to cap the maximum return on this by requiring multiple misses to return 1 shot. Now triggers on 2 misses within 6 seconds. Okay? Honestly, I would just shoot once, and if I miss, just literally shoot in the ground. But Cross, wouldn't you just get back a single shot that you just had? You right. The future. Coming in Lightfall, we're doing a heavy weapon balance pass, adding subclass 3.0 verbs to several exotic weapons, tuning kinetic weapons, and adding a new perk to make kinetic weapons more valuable. In post-Lightfall seasons, we'll be shipping some updates we're pretty shuffed about. Oh, I like being shuffed myself. Now first, more substantial changes to weapon hipfire reticles with the goal of exposing more information specific to weapon types of exotic functionality. Second, a full auto melee setting. Oh my. Oh, that's nice. I can just sit there and just lay on the trigger, melee over and over. You telling me I can fist aliens with a single button press? Oh, that sounds nice. Another set of craftable reprised raid weapons with an origin trait, similar to what we did with the Deepstone Crypt in Season 19, and regular seasonal and mid-season balance updates, and more. Also, we wanted to call out one more change, this time about the Titan Exotic Gauntlets, Citan's Ramparts. So Citan's Ramparts here increase the cooldown of the Barricade ability, while Citan's Ramparts are equipped by 70%. Increase the amount of damage players deal to a Citan's Barricade by 25%. This change to decrease how often one sees a Citan's Barricade in a PvP match, as well as add more opportunities for effective counterplay. Everybody say goodbye to Citans. That's it. Okay, now on to abilities. In patch 6.3.0.5, scheduled to be released the week of January the 24th, we're releasing some ability changes that we've been playtesting in Lightfall to address some outliers in both PvE and in PvP. In the Crucible, class ability uptime has inflated significantly over the course of the last year, so we're increasing the base cooldown of Barricade, Thruster, and Dodge by 20%. And notice, they didn't say anything about my Warlocks. Now, increase base cooldown time of the following class abilities by 20%. Barricade, this includes Towering Barricade base cooldown increase from 40 seconds to 48 seconds. Rally Barricade base cooldown increase from 32 seconds to 38 seconds. Thruster base cooldown increase from 30 seconds to 36 seconds. And Dodge, Marksman Dodge base cooldown increase from 29 seconds to 34 seconds. And Gambler's Dodge base cooldown increase from 38 seconds to 46 seconds. Guys, we've been saying it all along. Class abilities were getting out of hand. Cooldowns were way too low. Now listen, before you start freaking out about this, keep in mind there are ways to build into it. You may have to rock double utility kickstart mods, or even distribute more stats into your allocated class ability stats. Either way it goes though, this was definitely something we saw coming for a long time, as we knew it was getting way out of hand. Now with update 6.3.0 at the launch of Season 19, we reduced the linger time of Touch of Thunder's enhanced storm grenades, but this hasn't meaningfully moved the needle in either their potency or usage across most game modes. So we're taking a harder swing here. We're reducing the damage dealt by each lightning strike by 25% and making it significantly easier to avoid the roaming storm by decreasing its tracking speed and distance, especially near the start of its lifetime. So Touch of Thunder, Storm Grenade, secondary strike damage reduced from 40 to 30, added a 0.24 second delay between the grenade's initial strike on impact and the creation of the roaming storm. The roaming storm's travel speed now begins at 1.5 meters per second and ramps up over 1.3 seconds to a maximum of 3 meters per second. This previously traveled at a flat 3.5 meters per second. Now the roaming storm's target search range now increases over 2 seconds after creation rather than starting at full size. Now some of you may be asking, Cross, does this affect PvE too? Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Now, do I think Lord of Thunder is just going to become a trash build? No, I don't think it is. I think it's still going to be phenomenal. As long as Heart of Inmost Light doesn't get hurt, we still have a fighting chance here, fellas. Now, in August 2021, with update 5.3.0, we added weapon penalties that affected the player while sliding. The goal of this change was to reduce the percentage of engagements where the outcome was effectively decided by sliding, especially when used with a shotgun that instantly ended the fight from significant range. Shotguns and other weapons have been tuned since then, and we've implemented skill-based matchmaking into the Crucible, so we're removing the slide penalties in order to improve the feel and consistency of combat. So remove stability, incoming flinch, and shotgun pellet spread penalties while sliding. All right, fellas, it's happening. Airborne effectiveness, sliding penalty removed. My top tier PvP players, this should be music to your ears. Now, personally, I like this change simply because I like moving. Destiny to me is a movement game, and since we have skill-based matchmaking in literally every part of the game now, if I want to slide and the guy in front of me wants to slide and we just want to slide into each other or jump in the air like mad, we would like to do so without penalties. Now, Lunar New Year, be right back. We've got a rabbit to celebrate. New Lunar Year, who dis? 2023 is the year of the rabbit in the Chinese zodiac, with bunny cuteness symbolizing a year filled with hope, prosperity, longevity, and peace. It's also another reason to celebrate. So what do we have to kick off the year of the rabbit? From January 17th to 31st, you'll see Lunar New Year loot from old tests, so you'll want to mosey on over to Eververse just like last year. Her year of the rabbit wears will celebrate a fresh start with new items and some blasts from Lunar New Year's pass. Oh, and if you happen to see a mysterious red envelope at Eververse, you're going to want to grab that for a celebratory gift of bright dust. You know, to splurge on some sweet cosmetics at a later date, because you deserve it. Treat yourself! And for those that may be looking to stay at home due to something like a bad hair day and get that celebration on even sooner, we've also got a nifty free emblem for Guardians to don to ring in the year of the rabbit in style. There you go, guys. An emblem if you want. By the way, we also have some Prime Gaming loot if you'd like to pick that up, as well as a number of wallpapers in 4K. Known issues, we've got Centipede error codes, players not able to crouch, bounty acquisition via the Destiny Companion app being slow. Hopefully all these get worked out soon. Now, one last thing. New year, new socials. Our goal we have this year is to continue improving how we communicate with our community. In the past, we've relied heavily on our community manager accounts to share a lot of information, context, and clarifications. Often, it worked great, and we saw that many of you appreciated the additional transparency, but it also created some unfun times for community managers or other Bungie employees who shared Destiny 2 specific information from their personal accounts. We wanted to make sure we are protecting our people without sacrificing opportunities to engage directly with you on various platforms. So what are we doing? Today, we are creating a Destiny 2 team's account on the following platforms to help us move away from using community managers' personal accounts as we have in the past. So for Twitter, we have the Destiny 2 team. There's even one for Bungie.net and Reddit. Now, these are live now, and where you'll see us interacting with the community going forward on. Our goal is not to share less info or shy away from sharing context or clarifications when possible, but to use the accounts to be more proactive in these efforts and avoid the need to follow and tag several CMs. What about the community managers? I like following them. You're still free to follow me and the rest of the CM gang, as well as any other Bungie employees you see out there. We'll all still be posting memes, sharing cool Destiny art, and having fun on our personals. But if you want answers to questions or a good avenue to share your Destiny 2 specific feedback, the Destiny 2 team accounts are the new hotness. Another goal we have going forward is to more actively solicit feedback regularly using the accounts like we did recently on Reddit, but on all three platforms. You don't have to wait for a post though. You can share your feedback anytime, and we'll be able to tag any of the Destiny 2 team accounts if you have something you want us to see and not feel the need to tag several CM accounts. We have a few posts up right now on Bungie.net, Reddit, and Twitter asking for feedback right now, so go share. After finishing this TWAB, of course. At Bungie Help is still going to be the primary place for updates on maintenance, outages, and ongoing issues being tracked. At Destiny the Game is where we'll drop the latest game trailers and high-level Destiny 2 news. The plan with the new at Destiny 2 team accounts is to give us another avenue to give deeper insight on certain topics and a means to interacting on Bungie.net and Reddit more. Expect to see a lot more replies on those platforms going forward. And there we go. Second TWAB of 2023 in the books. There are a few more more of these handy TWABs before Lightfall arrives, including more on Strand, upcoming economy changes, and more. You can also look forward to special standalone articles from different developer teams, like the one mentioned above that dove into buildcrafting, which will offer more insight for those that want it and keep TWABs a little more focused on a hub of info without drowning in word counts. Think informed, but not in a panic, I don't want to read 10,000 word blog post type of way, you know? Anyway, more to come, but for now, make sure you're drinking that water, prioritizing that self-care, and remember to always lead with your kindness foot forward. See you next week, friends. I should go. Love hippie. All right, guys, this was a thick TWAB, man. If we got both today's TWAB and yesterday's blog post all in one, holy hell, that would be a lot. But again, guys, a lot of good stuff mentioned today, and also some things that really is going to require us to just try out. Like the Airborne changes, I need to try it out. Bungie's heard our complaints loud and clear. Where they're staying firm, though, of course, is in their matchmaking, and especially in this fire team matchmaking. We're gonna have to just see how it plays out. But the slide nerf being removed, rumble returning, airborne effectiveness essentially being walked back, sign ramparts and class abilities being dealt with, DMT hipfire being adjusted. I think we have a lot of good changes coming. And again, some of these are hitting here soon in our mid-season patch. Lots of great stuff, guys. And one of the biggest upcoming TWABs is gonna be the one revealing Strand. And I'm sure we're gonna get like a trailer of Strand, perhaps even a Vidog, and then we're gonna get a TWAB going into even more depth. Guys, let me know in the comments below what you think. Again, if you missed our video going over how mods are changing, loadouts in game, as well as how we're dealing with champions, feel free to check out that video. Fellas and ladies, thank you all for coming and watching, and as always,
slap that like button like your mama told you right.